Hey guys, it's Miss Hennebree again. I promise Miss Barrett's going to do a video very soon, but this is our next video on adding and subtracting fractions. And just like the decimals one, this one should just be a review for you. It's just reviewing the skill. So as I'm doing the problems, if you can do them before I'm finished, just go ahead and work through them and see if you get the correct answer. But I'm going to go through them step by step. Alright, so here we go. Alright, when you add fractions, the first thing that you need to remember is that you always want to have common denominators. So here we have a 2 and a 4. So those need to look the same in order to add the fractions. So, what is a common factor, a common multiple of 4 and 2? Well, obviously it's 4. Right, so this fraction didn't change. And then 1/2, when you change it to a fraction with a denominator of 4, this becomes 2/4. And now you're just going to add. So you're going to add your whole numbers. 4 plus 2 is 6. And then 2/4 and 1/4. Remember, your denominator stays the same. And you add your numerators. 2 plus 1 is 3. So you would have 6 and 3/4. Okay? Alright, here's our next one. 8 1/3 plus 2 3/5. Same thing. You want to figure out what is a common multiple of 3 and 5. In most cases, if you can't think of one, you can just multiply the two denominators together. In this case, that is the common denominator. 3 times 5 is 15. So that is our common denominator. Okay? In order to go from 5 to 15, we had to multiply it by 3. So we're going to multiply this one by 3 and we get 9. And then to get from 3 to 15, we had to multiply it by 5, so we're going to multiply this one by 5, and we get 5 15ths. Okay, so same thing, we're just going to go ahead and add. 8 plus 2 is 10. Then our denominator stays the same because we're adding 15ths together. 9 15ths plus 5 15ths is 14 15ths. So we end up with an answer of 10 and 14 15ths. All right, last one for adding. Okay, same thing, common denominators, we need to have them. So for 30 and 5, you could multiply 30 times 5 and get it, but remember, 30 is a multiple of 5, so our common denominator is actually going to be 30. So this fraction did not change. However, to get from 5 to 30, we multiplied that by 6, so we have to multiply the numerator by 6. Okay? Then we add our whole numbers. 5 plus 4 is 9. 6 plus 6 is 12. And remember, our denominator stays the same. So we have 9 and 12 30ths. Now you could simplify that. And 12 and 30 share a common factor of 6. So it would be 2 15ths. Okay, you should always simplify your fractions unless it tells you not to do so. Alright, so now we're going to move on to subtracting. Subtracting is the same thing. The only difference is you're subtracting. Okay, so on this one, we've got 5 as our denominator for both. Right, so we don't have to find common denominators. But if you look, when we're subtracting, we're going to do 9 minus 2, which is 7. And then it wants us to do 1 minus 3. Right, and that's going to give us a negative number. So what we want to do is we want to do something called regrouping. So we're going to rewrite this fraction. We can rewrite this fraction as 8, because we're just going to borrow 1. And then if that one that we borrowed is actually 5 over 5. Remember we talked about that 5 over 5 is equal to 1. So 8 plus 1 is 9, and then plus 1/5. And if you add all that together, you get 8 and 6/5. Right? These are equivalent. These two fractions right here are the same. All we did was write them differently. Okay? We're going to subtract 2 and 3/5. Right? So 8 minus 2 is 6. Our denominator stays the same, and 6 minus 3 is 3. So our final answer is 6 and 3/5. So don't forget, it's this part that kind of gets confusing for people, is when you're doing the regrouping. Okay, all you're doing is borrowing from the 9 to make this fraction big enough to be subtracted from. Okay, let's try another one. 8 and 5 6. And we're going to subtract 3 and 1/4. So this one we do need to make common denominators. So we keep our 8 and our 3. And the common multiple of 6 and 4, you can multiply 6 and 4 and get 24, but there's actually a smaller one, which is 12. Okay, so 4 times 3 gave us 12, so we have to multiply the 1 by 3. And 6 times 2 gave us 12, so you have to multiply the 5 times 2. Right? So now we're just going to subtract. 8 minus 3 is 5. Keep our common denominators. And 10 minus 3 is 7. And our final answer would be 5 and 7/12. All right, last one. This one's a subtraction problem also. They don't have common denominators, and I think you're going to have to regroup. So I'm going to go ahead and work it. You go ahead and try to do it and check and see how you do, okay? So first thing you need is your common denominators, which would be 24. Okay, so this times 3, that times 3, this times 4, and this times 4. Okay, so now we've got 5 and 4/12. We're going to subtract from that 3 and 12/24. So we can't subtract 12 from 4, so we have to do that regrouping thing. So this becomes 4. And then remember, we've got our 24/24, so that's our whole number, and we're going to add the 4, so it would be 28/24. And then we're going to subtract the 12/24. So 4 minus 3 is 1. 28 minus 12 is 16/24. And then from that we can simplify 1 and 2/3. Okay, the regrouping, hopefully you're not struggling with that, but if you are when you come to class, we can help you with that. So again, remember, this is just review. So if you're having problems, you need to make sure that you ask us for help, come to tutoring, and we'll do application problems in class. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed it. We will see you in class in a few days. Behave yourselves, and have a good night. Bye-bye.